Welcome to BioRhythms. My name is Terrance Afer-Anderson, and I have a very special guest in the studio with me today, Mr. James Cooper, affectionately known as Coop. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Generally, I start off talking about people's childhood and so forth because we're doing these biographical portraits.
Okay.
But I swear I am so distracted by those weird-looking creatures that you have on the set.
Those weird-looking creatures.
Yeah, grab one of them and tell us who that is. And we're going to talk about what you do. Obviously, you're a puppeteer. Look at that.
This is, these are actually only a couple of months old. This is
oh, really?
Wickham the Dragon.
Like Wickham Avenue?
Wickham Avenue.
I love
yes,
it.
Sir. Yes, sir. He is
don't put him in front of your face. I want the camera to still see you.
Actually working with Newport News, the city of Newport News, for a educational series,
okay.
Teaching music, and he is our lead. He's the game show host for the game shows. So this is Wickham, and that's what he does.
Well, Wickham's eyes are crossed. Does he have an alcohol problem?
That's a perception thing that we do with puppets. It kind of gives them a gaze, of unfixed gaze. So the further away you are, the straighter the eyes actually get. It actually makes it look like he's looking at something as opposed to...
But if you're right on the tip of his nose,
like you are now,
scary.
Yeah, you're like, he's cross-eyed it. Yeah, but no, that's purposefully done. And my designer in Pittsburgh actually made this puppet, and with the aid of my mental capacities designing, which is very little, but yeah.
So you gave your designer some direction as to what you wanted?
I gave her some direction, and then she made this. And she also made this guy on the floor, if I can reach down and grab him.
Okay, put Wickham
Wickham can
down,
go away.
I want you to do a little demonstration here.
Grab this guy.
Okay. And that's a log?
It's a kinkany drum.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I see that now.
Kinkany drum.
Okay.
This is Keeney, the kinkany. His arm is actually, and like I said, they're I think Keeney is only 2 months old.
Okay.
And he doesn't even have a voice yet.
Okay.
Which is something that I try to think out when I'm designing puppets. But this guy right here came up. We were designing a show called Keeney the Kinkany, and we had no clue what he looked like. And my designer and I sat on Facebook back and forth for probably about 20 minutes, and she came up with a picture of a kinkany drum that had a little bit of kente cloth on it. And I said, I like that. Okay. So she made 3 of them. One with full kente cloth, one that looked more wood-like than this guy.
Okay, well, I don't want them to upstage. We're going to come back to that later. So let's talk a little bit more about you. And I think a good way to start is by the mere virtue of the fact that you chose something called a kinkany drum. I think that speaks volumes about who James Cooper is. How did you come to choose the kinkany drum? Well, what is a kinkany drum?
A kinkany is an African drum. It tells stories. In Africa, they use a lot of drumming to tell stories. The kinkany, the dun-dun, it's a vast array of drums, the talking drums. The
djembe.
The djembe, which is, everyone knows the djembe when you hear it.
And the talking drum.
And the talking drum. Right. But those drums are the essence of African stories and folklore, which is what Keeney does. He actually wants to tell his story. So that's what his story is. He wants to be a star is his big thing, but he has to learn the history before he can go forth and be in the limelight.
Now, I wouldn't call you necessarily Afrocentric, but I certainly know that you have a great appreciation of African culture.
I do.
And does that come from anything in your past, in your childhood? I mean, the connection is obvious, okay, but how do you kind of be so passionate about it and so interested?
It's just really deeply rooted in my upbringing. I grew up in South Carolina. I grew up in Washington, D.C., and I grew up in Virginia. You know, we traveled a lot. I saw a lot. My family is really, is not as Afrocentric as I am, but they still emphasize the
influence of the culture,
to me and my family and my sister. So I just kind of carried that on.
Now, you lived in South Carolina for how long?
We never lived in South Carolina.
Okay, you were just born.
Always, I mean, every weekend we got time. My grandmother was dragging us to South Carolina in the station wagon, and we were in the back listening to her stories. When we got down there, we would listen to her cousin's stories and the stories of the stories and the stories that kept on going. So I just amassed all of these stories about family.
That's interesting, because a guest that I had on last week talked about the influence of storytelling in her own life. Now, you tell stories with the puppets.
Yes.
Right? Where do these stories come from?
Some come from African folklore. Some I make up on my own. Okay. Some I do collaborations with a few people. Crystal Sessoms is one of the people.
Well, you know I know Crystal.
Yeah.
Right. She was going to be on the show in a few weeks.
Yeah. We just kind of, you know, sit still and create. I create with it's a lot of people. Michael Amell, one of your proteges.
One of yours as well.
Oh gosh, yeah.
You've known Michael longer than I have.
I have. I really have. And that's where it comes from. Corey Staten is another person that I work with, and he does a lot of African drumming and storytelling, and I work with him. And we're working on a new series with the emperors of Africa.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's a very different type of puppeteering, where it's not the Muppeteering, which is this type of puppet.
Right.
It's more
in deference to Mr.
folk,
Henson.
right?
Yeah.
Definitely. It's more folkloric, folk art, more paper mache, mixed with the Japanese bunraku style, where you'll see the puppeteers, but these puppets are 5 and 6 feet tall.
Stay tuned, we'll be right back. If you would describe yourself as a child in one word, what would it be?
Everywhere.
Why everywhere?
Because I was everywhere. I was doing everything. Matter of fact, my middle name comes from my aunt. They named me Travis, and she used to call me Traveling Lamont. That's what she used to call me. So Travis is my middle name, and that's where that comes from. But yeah, I was always into something performance-based, something athletic. I did everything. And when I say everything, I mean, I used computers. I was into I'm still into computers.
Yeah, I know.
Music, I'm still into music.
Right.
And that's been throughout my life. That's been a mainstay. That's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me out of trouble. And that keeps my mind at ease a lot of the times. You know, I can always fall back to one of those things that I love to do, and I love to do all of them.
You and a few friends of mine all have something in common. I'm much older than you guys, but you all have something, yeah, much older. But you all have something in common. You all went to Lake Taylor and the Repertory Theater there under Miss Connie Hindmarsh.
Yes.
What was that experience like? How did that influence you?
I always say they're my other family.
But it has to have been a rich experience, because all of you guys are so gifted.
Rich is not, I don't even think that encompasses what we learned and what we became out of that program. We have been everywhere, everywhere, which comes up again. Broadway, across the oceans, cruise liners. I travel still immensely. Just came from the Smithsonian not too long ago.
I used to work there, by the way.
You did. We had that conversation. But yeah, Connie Hindmarsh has instilled just the work ethic, just to be your best, do your best. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. Yeah, I mean, we get together pretty frequently. We still connect on a regular basis. Like we'll see each other at a show, and at the end of the show, it's like we were sitting in the living room 20 minutes ago. Right. You know, we never lose step, never lose faith, and we support each other all the way.
Well, when Tori Russell comes into town, he is certainly going to be on BioRhythms.
Yeah. That's my brother. I mean, we actually went through Lake Taylor together, scraping and scrapping, you know, trying to pass classes. But yeah, Tori is doing outstanding things.
And of course, he's living out in Vegas. Yeah, Vegas. Now, so how was that influence? I mean, how did that experience influence your diet, your creative diet? I mean, you've done everything in terms of the
saying we were gluttonous.
Okay.
There was no diet. We took everything. You gave it to us. We ate it and we conquered it, and but we became very efficient at everything that we did. So when we ingested something, we efficiently gave you a product that was really well worked out. We try not to half step. And you're still eating voraciously now. Because, tell us about the projects that you're involved in. I know you're working as a lighter designer somewhere, and you have your own company. Yes. What are you doing now, Coop? I am the resident light designer for Virginia Arts Festival.
Okay.
And we've just started our season, and I'll be doing Ballet Hispanico next week. I also do workshops with under T.L.C. Puppets, which is my puppet company. And we're starting a video series with Wickham. Wickham will be doing a game show, kind of like Name That Tune.
Okay.
And but we'll use instrument sounds. So like if we play a tuba, then the children will have to respond. What kind of instrument is that? Mm-hmm. It's a tuba, and they get points. And so forth and so on, so they can learn the different sounds of the instruments. We also go through the same type of game show with Keeney in his show, but we also do some other storytelling in that facet. And then I'm with Rainbow Puppets, we do library, schools, churches, things of that nature. We do nursery rhymes, SOL based learning. With that company. Oh gosh, I'm working on a jazz array with the puppets.
Really? Wait a minute. Tell me about this.
Yeah.
Are the puppets going to be playing
the
jazz?
Yes. Wickham actually has a little bitty saxophone that he plays, and we also have Keeney playing the drum. There's a whole drum section there, that's pretty much it. Well, I mean, we just go through and we do nursery rhymes. We sing nursery rhymes with a jazz influence. But that's one of the next shows that we're working on right now.
How important is it to provide this type of cultural exposure to young kids? And how do you bring your own experiences to bear when you do that? Because obviously working with children is important to you.
I love working with children. Children give me so much. They give me ideas. But opening up the creative spark within them helps me continue and get better as I progress through my performance life. And they just need to experience it. It makes them multifaceted. Children are the most unencumbered when it comes to creativity. So I love to emulate what they do. And so they give me a little and I give them a little back. So it's kind of give and take.
Give and take kind of thing, yeah. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. So set up this clip for us. It has Sean Lamont in it.
Sean Lamont
and Jennifer is in it too.
Yeah,
isn't she?
Jennifer Kelly Cooper is also in that.
That happens to be your
somebody
wife.
I know.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. This is a clip from Percy and the Mad Museum, which is a Halloween show that we do. It's a 15-minute show, so it's really quick.
Okay.
But Percy has just conquered the oh gosh, can I remember this show?
Percy. All I remember is Sean Lamont with that, super
he's
huge
playing
belly.
Percy,
Right.
And the uncle is a mad scientist, and he has changed Jennifer's brother into a werewolf, which is why she has on wolf ears. And Percy comes in and saves the day because he's trying to
Percy saves the day.
control everyone's mind with this new mind control machine.
No, what is going on? My mind control machine, it's not working.
Well, that's what you get for messing with Percy and P for a sale. And the P stand for pop you in your seat. I was gonna say posterior.
The kid.
I was saying posterior.
Okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
Perhaps it is time for me to exit stage.
Oh,
left.
everybody! I need a kid. Help me! Come here! Somebody! I need a kid to get him. Let's bring him. Come here, little kid. Hurry up! Hurry up!
No, not the silly street. No, it burns, it burns.
You are my hero. Oh, that was so wonderful. You got him. You got him.
I'm a little tired, Joey.
That was stupid funny. It really truly was.
Just being silly. Sometimes that's, you just have an idea and you got to get it out. And, and that's what it was. They were like, can you do something Halloween? I was like, no, not really.
So you wrote the script for this?
I wrote the script.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. I won't hold that against you.
Please don't.
But you write other things, though. I mean, you write puppet shows, but what else do you write?
I write puppet shows, poetry, music, working on a compilation of my thoughts in general, which can be very interesting to me. So I've done quite a bit. I've worked on a couple of children's books.
When you have so many creative interests, where do you find your inspiration? I mean, what happens? What is that spark that when you get an idea, and how is that idea? How do you choose to manifest that idea? What medium? Once you get that spark, because you can go so many different directions.
I do the one thing that I don't do well, and that's sit still. But when I'm still and I listen, then the inspiration comes.
Yeah.
I hear voices, and they're loud and clear.
Right.
And I speak to a lot of my past family members that have told me, don't let go of your gift. And so I don't, I'm like, okay, I have a new idea, but I have no clue what to do with it. And I sit still and listen. And
that is so very important. And people don't do that, when the germ of an idea, when it is born, okay, it won't necessarily always tell you where to go with it.
Nope.
Okay, and what it's doing is it's feeding you. And sometimes you just have to sit still and be fed.
Yeah.
Now, with all the different things that you do, you play music, you act, you sing, you dance, you write. Is there one thing, and this might be an unfair question, but is there one of those things that gives you your greatest passion? Excuse me.
Out of the things that I do, the one thing that gives me the greatest passion is probably making people smile, giving them relief from their their tumultuous situations, their daily lives, you know, just relieving stress.
Giving people a break.
Giving them a break, a big break, an hour and 20-minute breaks. Yeah, that's my big thing. So it doesn't matter what I'm doing, as long as they can get that relief, as long as they can see that there is something better, there's something different, there's something new, and to chase those things. You know, after you leave me, what are your ideas? I do follow-ups.
Oh, really?
I do a lot of follow-ups. I do workshops and I do a lot of follow-ups.
What kind of workshops do you do?
Team building workshops with puppets, believe it or not. Just came from.
This is with adults, using puppets with adults.
I've been asked on quite a few occasions when I'm doing workshop with children, when is my next adult workshop? Because it gives you another way to speak. It gives you another way to communicate with people, and that's important. The collaboration that I have with so many artists in the area is because I communicate, because we talk. We talk on a regular basis. We go out and visit. We go out and see what's going on. We ask people questions. We look to see what they want to see and what they want to do, and that's where a lot of that comes from. So.
And you certainly communicate with children, because as we were talking about your experiences with children, you had a definitive sparkle in your eyes.
I love babies. I love children. I love children. They're just so special. You have to admire every child that you see, because there's going to be something, a special adult that comes out of that.
I fervently believe that children are so special because they are so close to their pure spirit.
Yes,
you know, they're so close to their pure spirit.
Yes.
And so, as we close, what I'd like to do is to ask you if you could recall a memorable experience with a child.
Oh, of course.
Share that with us very quickly.
My favorite experience is, her name is MJ. I know her very well.
But we can't say her entire name.
She's beautiful. She said, "I want to go see James and his puppets," to her mother. And then when she saw me, she said, "There's James and his hair." And that has stuck with me for this has been 5 years.
Well, your hair is a profound artistic expression.
It is.
And I want to thank you for coming on to the show today and sharing your multitude of talents and your multitude of artistic expression. Thank you, brother.
Sir.
Thank you so very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us today. And please tell all your friends about BioRhythms. Again, there's something mighty exciting happening in Hampton Roads. My name is Terrance Afer-Anderson, and this has been BioRhythms.